Shalom Evrocha, welcome to the weekly Shiur of Zera Shimshon. It's Yomi, hey, Lepasha Shoftim, Dalat Elo Tovshim Pei Hey, and Klal Yisrael have entered into the Mea Rachmim V'Arotzain, the Chodesh El of Anila Doidi V'Doidi Li, and here we are learning a nifladige shtickle in Zera Shimshon. We'd like to learn this week Ois Dalat in Pasha Shoftim, but I will preface to this piece something very fundamental, very yesodistic in understanding our avoid Chodesh El. It's said in the name of Reb Zishem Anapari. He said back in the day, tshuva, which consists of 5 letters, Tov, Shin, Vav, Beis, Hey, was Rosh Tevis. The Tov was Tainis, the Shin was Sak, the Vav was Va'efer, which a person puts sackcloth and ash. The vase was Bechia, crying. Hey is Hesped. This is brought in Reishis Chachma. This was the way how people did tshuva. Through crying, through fasting, through being misabel. That's how they erased their averas. Said Reb Zisha, but nowadays, since people are weaker, people are schwacher, there's a new method how to do tshuva. The 5 letters, Tov, Shin, Vav, Beis, Hey, have a new understanding. The Tov is Tamim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha. The Shin is Shvisi Hashem Lenegdi Summit. The Vav is V'ahavta L'recha Kamoicha. The Beis is B'chal D'rechecha De'eyu. And the Hey is Hatznei Leches Im Hashem Lakecha. If that's the case, Reb Zisha is telling us, what's step 1 to do tshuva? In our generation, where the crying and the hesped is not something that works so well for us, so there's 5 steps. What's the step number 1? Step number 1 is the Tov, which is Tamim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha. In light of that, let's learn a piece in Zera Shimshon, and we'll have some understanding, some insight. How does that work? A person lives in a life of Tamim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha, then he will get to tshuva. Why is that? And why is it necessary in Chodesh El to work first and foremost on Tamim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha? And really, if you look in the David Hashem Oyer V'Yishi, this is what it's talking about. We enter into Chodesh El, we blow the shofar, and we say, Le David Hashem Oyer V'Yishi Mimi Ira, Hashem Moez Chaim Mi'evchad. I'm not afraid of anything. This is a demonstration of Tamim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha. And that seems to be a critical message of Chodesh El, to live a life of Tamim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha. And this ties into the avoid of Rosh Hashanah, as we will see in this nifladige fundamental piece of Zera Shimshon. Zok the Heilige Zera Shimshon. Medrash Yalkut says, Atem Eidai Nu'em Hashem. Klal Yisrael, you are my witnesses. Then the pasuk continues, Va'ani Keil. Atem Eidai Nu'em Hashem, Va'ani Keil. Says the Medrash. Kesha'atem Eidai, when you live a life of being witnesses, to testify Hashem's existence, then says Hashem, Ani Keil. Then I am the Eibishter. When you're not Eidai, you don't live a life of testifying Hashem's existence, Kavayochel, Ani Keil. Then I'm not Kavayochel, obviously, Ani Keil. What does this mean? If you live a life of Atem Eidai, then Hashem says, I am a Keil, I am the strongest power. If not, Chas v'shalom, Kavayochel, Ani Keil. But Tam Bir Medrash Zenira. So the Zera Shimshon, I want to explain the pshat in this Medrash. Keshi Yisrael Zakoim Einam Yireim. When Klal Yisrael are worthy, we are not afraid of anything. Not from the sorcerers and not from the witchcraft. We're not afraid of anything. A Yid has the ability to rise above all the koichas atuma and all the koichas of kishuv and all the koichas of lo'umazeh. As the pasuk says, Kle nachash b'Yaakov, v'lo kesem b'Yisrael. And the Gemara says in Chulin, Ein oid malvadoi. A person can live a life of Ein oid malvadoi, afilek shofim. There's nothing that we can be afraid of. It's Ein oid malvadoi. Freit the Gemara, how can you say it's Ein oid malvadoi? Eini. Freit the Gemara, va'amar Reb Yochanan, lama mikra shman kshofim. Why are they called kshofim? She'makishim pamalia shel mala kaviyachol. They contradict the pamalia shel mala. Says the Gemara, it depends who we talk about. Shani Reb Chanina, the Nafish Zechusei. Reb Chanina is different. If you have a lot of Zchusim, then Kshofim have no control over you. But if you don't have that Madrega, you don't have Nafish Zechusei, then yes, a man will be open to all the pitfalls of Kshofim. Nimtza. Kashi Yisrael Yesh Lehem Zechus Harbe. We have a lot of Zchusim. Then Kshofim Eilem Koyach. Then nothing in the world can stop us. Nothing can harm us. Nothing can hurt us. The Nikr Einer Lavadoi. In such a case, it's noticeable, it's apparent that Klal Yisrael have the Einer Lavadoi, because you have these Goyim trying to plan who knows what against them, and you have these people that try to work with Koyach Satuma, and they realize it's not working, and that will testify, and that will demonstrate the Einer Lavadoi. Ubarminon, because Ein Yisrael's Chus Chas v'Shalom, and we don't have a Chus. And then the Umas Oilam and the Kshofim have Chas v'Shalom control of the Kshofim. Shemakishim Pamalia Shalmaila. They contradict on a certain level. Pamalia Shalmaila. They go against what the Eibishter planned. Kava Yachol. Chas v'Shalom. That's why a beautiful pshat. When we are Zoicha, when we live a life of Atem Eidai, then Ani Kale. Then it looks like in this world that the Eibishter is Kale. But if we live a life of not Eidai, we get involved in Oidam Ateva, and we don't have Schusim, then it's Eini Kale. It looks like Chas v'Shalom, Hashem is not controlling the world. How do good things happen to, how do bad things happen to good people? And all these types of questions. And people start saying, Eini Kale. But Tamal Zeh continues the Zera Shimshon to understand this a little deeper. The Fishkal Atzman Shel Mekatrigim, the essence of the Mekatrigim HaKlippos, Eilem Achiza Rak Ba'achorei HaKedusha. They can only touch the Achorei HaKedusha. Avaloi Beponim Shel HaKedusha Chas v'Shalom. There's the Pnim of the Kedusha, the face, and there is the other side of the Tzad HaKedusha. When we do Ratzon of the Eibishter, Heim Nishkochim Tzad Ponim, then we get the Ponim of the Eibishter to look at us. As the Pasuk says, Ba'ur Panei Melechayim. When you have that on Hagah, as we say, Ashrei Am Yoidei Sruah, Hashem Ba'or Panecha Aleichem. We say in Shemona Esra, Ki Ba'or Panecha Nesatalonu Hashem Nekenu, Toras Chaim, Avas Chesed, Tzedakah, Ubracha, Rachmim, Chaim, Ushanim Chol Tov. You have to get to Or Panecha. Once it's Or Panecha, there is no dark side that can do anything. When it's not Or Panecha, we're just getting a shefa from the Achorai Akdusha, then the clippers can have a control and take it away. Continues the Zera Shimshon. He is halech lefanai v'yeisamim. Halech lefanai v'yeisamim. This is the Tomim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha, which means Shemisha b'teich b'Hashem. If you trust in the Eibishter, you have faith in the Eibishter, it's LeDavid Hashem Oyer v'Yishi. And you're not afraid and intimidated. You can have a palm reader that can read your hand and you say, I'm not impressed. I'm not intimidated. I'm not misspall. As the Stipler said, he doesn't know why people go to palm readers. He's like, he looks at his hand and it changes every day after Shachris. It had one type of line before Shachris. After Shachris is different. It's different. We live a whole different reality. We live a life of Tomim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha. As Tomim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha. What's the pasuk say after the pasuk in this week's parasha of Tomim Tia Im Hashem Lakecha? Ki agoyim eile. These goyim, these nations, they listen to all sorts of other forces, other koiches, which are real. But that's only for goyim. Only people that don't live in the oil panav of the Eibishter. The alter loichein. Imkain kishes halech lefanai. When you go in front of me, which lefana is lashon upon him, but tizkel hanes ma'or upon him, then you'll see tomim. Then you won't have to be afraid of nachash ekishuv. So the Eibishter is halech lefanai. You know how you get to the madrig of tomim? Live a life and focus on panai or panecha. Have a relationship with the Eibishter and live a life of standing in front of Shvisi Hashem Negdi Summit before him. And that relationship causes that you have nothing to be afraid of anything else, and you can live a life of Tamimus. Don't be choker achar asidus. This is the message of the Zera Shimshon. And in light of Rebbe Zisha, we would add, we need desperately to be zoich in Yom Adin, that Hashem should inscribe us in the Sefer HaChaim. We know Rosh Hashanah is the day of Milchama. There's the koichas hatuma. There's the koich of the Yetzer Hara. The koich of Lu'umah there. And we have to override that. We have a tremendous power of shofar. But says the Rebbe Zisha, you know what you do? Step one in the tshuva world. Tamim tia im Hashem lekecha. Work to live a life of tamimus. Hashem leave a ira. I'm not afraid of anything. And you get that by working on living a life of being in front of the Eibishter. And live a life of Tamim tia im Hashem lekecha. With the Shvisi Hashem lenegdi summit. And then you're not afraid of anything. You're in the hands of the Eibishter. Then no koichas of Yoma Zeh can have any control and any effect on you. And that's the first message. Pasha Shoftim, beginning of Chodesh Elul. Tamim tia im Hashem lekecha. Work on the Midas HaBatochen. Work on your Emunah. Strengthen yourself and see the Eibishter in every aspect in your life. And then the koichas of Yoma Zeh won't have any chance to be mekatrik on any single yid. And then we will be zoichet to HaKasiva Chasima Toiva. Zechusay HaGodel VaHaKadosh Yagna Leinu VaHal Kol Yisrael. Good Shabbos.